Good to go. Welcome back, everybody. It's Ryotin CCG here, back with Drake the Duelist. We are doing the podcast, just us, because Jay Crane is out on a cruise having fun and enjoying life on a boat. We did have to take last week off just due to some unforeseen circumstances, but we are back with some new topics and all the fun stuff that we like to do. How was your week, Drake? How was your last 2 weeks?
Well, I came back from a vacation of my own, and I feel a little inadequate. But hey, that money that could have been spent on a cruise went into making sure that I didn't go broke after all the Kickstarter stuff.
So I've been asking people. I'm just curious to see. So how much was your grand total?
410.
Okay. I think the highest I heard was somebody spent about $2,000.
What? Okay, I feel like I have restraint now.
Like, yeah, someone spent $2,000, and I was like, why? And they said they're going to use it for prize support, and I said okay. And that's kind of the same thing I did. I did buy a little bit extra to use for prize support for different tournaments we're going to run. But I said $2,000. I said, did you just buy everything?
Yeah, at that point, I'll just enter your tournaments and win your prize. I think that may have been the point.
Exactly. Now, I will say the one kicker that got me, and it got me immediately, and I feel like it was directed towards me and Jay Crane, was the Paul card.
Yeah, I knew from the moment I saw that, and the moment I had it explained to me that was it, that you were still gonna want it.
I said, I don't care about the jersey at all. I said, I don't care about it. People asking, oh, what's the material? I said, I don't care. I want the Paul card. Like, and I felt like they did that because they knew. I think only me, Jay Crane, and I want to say Mercury were like the only three who were talking about Paul. And like it was just a joke. Like, we want a Paul card. We want Paul to be a card. I said, hey, here it is. I said, well, shit, you got me. I feel like the whole Kickstarter was like an unhealthy drug. Like, you think you're out. They come on, hey, I got something else for you. Well, goddamn it, give me two.
Yeah, I had to stop myself from the golden war tokens because 20 was a bit much for that. But it's like I wound up getting, let's see, what's the damages on that? I got this tab open somewhere. Or maybe I don't. No, there it is.
Actually, let me, because I don't remember I remember what I got, but I don't remember what I got because I changed what I did last minute. Cause I was like, oh, I want this, so I did get my golden black hat. I was not letting that go by without getting it. I did not care.
Yeah.
I did get, okay. Let's see. So I got the progenitor clash. I got the black hat. I did get the Harbinger of Death package because Death is Bay. I got the jersey and promo, and I did get the metal die and promo tokens.
Oh, you did go for those.
I did, cause I'm just very curious about the metal one. I got the Death package just because I just like Death's design. I like Death's the most, but I really wanted to see how this D30 metal die will be. I was very curious about that, and of course I got the playmat, deck box, binder, the magnate trap.
How many?
I got first when I first did it. I did put 8, but then I went down to 4, and that was just mainly because I'm not gonna play it. So I say, cool, I'll have 4 to give away as a prize support, for a play set. But I did get a lot of the deck boxes and a lot of the 2-player play mats. I did make sure to pick up a lot of those. I feel like as for prize supports for those, I feel like that is very like, hey. And I picked up enough deck boxes where, like, for the the premium monthly tournament, that would be part of your entry. But you'll get one of those deck boxes. So I did do that. Um, yeah, so I got the regular Harbinger playmat, and then I got the 2-player Alpha Rare playmat, and then I got the Progenitor pack. It comes with the hard card novel, the soft cover, the Dust Jacket special edition, the ebook, and then we get the 8 promo New York Cities, Magnate, and then plus all the extra free stuff they gave. So that's what I'm excited about. I know I'm probably gonna do a raffle for the uncut sheet. So we'll do like a charity raffle where all the proceeds would go to charity and to give away one of the uncut sheets. And then, of course, the clarified number card and the other number card. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now.
The Alpha Aster and the Clarify?
Yes. Now those ones, those I probably won't do prize support. I'm probably gonna keep those. Now, okay, I lied. If I get a number 1, number 13, a number 42, or a number 100, I'm definitely gonna keep it. If I get any other numbers, it will be prize support. Because I'm sorry, like I feel like the worst thing to get is get a number 2. Like who wants a number 2 card?
Endeavor syndrome.
Like I'll be so upset. I'm like, I don't want this. but I don't care what it is. It's not number 1, so I don't want it. All right.
Yeah, as for me, I pulled mine up. I went Harbinger tier. That has the alt art hardcover novel, the softcover novel, the hardcover with Dust Jacket, and the ebook. Yep, it does have the ebook in there. And this one just has Clarify, not Alpha Aster. It also has 4 promo New York City, 4 promo Magnet Cunning Planner, and 4 promo Here Comes the Boom in monochrome. And I am absolutely playing those for reasons that I imagine we're going to get to later.
Oh,
and
100%.
then there's the for the extra add-ons, I got 4 Magnate's Trap. Mm-hmm. I got the Harbinger card binder, deck box, and playmat. I got da hat. So I am, in fact, the Hat Man. And the 2-player Alpha Rare playmat. I was divided on that, but I recently started one of my stores recently moved, and afterwards they're letting me run my own Learn to Play Alpha Clash events there on Mondays.
Okay.
So I figured that might come in handy later, now that I'm doing those. And I got all the packages for the Harbingers specifically. Sorry, Haven.
Yeah, the Haven one, I kept going back for it, but like I said, you can't make any decisions now. So I'll wait for someone to be like, hey, I have them for sale, and I still think it's hilarious about the guy who tried to sell his Harbinger pack before it even came out. And then
some people just maybe that was the guy who dumped his collection, and that's why we didn't hit 100.
Oh, is that what happened? Wait, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, we missed the 100K.
Are you serious?
Yeah, unfortunately, we just missed it, and it's like at a point it just started plummeting. That was depressing.
Oh, see, like again, like those are people who are trying to buy it ahead of time and see if they can capitalize and sell it off very quickly. And I said, well, at least let stuff come out first. Like how about again? There's 500 backers, so I mean, there's 500 people that actively are trying to get this stuff, and there are a lot of people who are going to start getting the game in Clash Ground, and so it's like you got to give it time. Like you have to give it time. Like it's not gonna again, you can't sit there and say, "Cool, I bought this for 500, and I'm going to sell it to you for 900." Like that. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it is disappointing that we didn't get to see what that 100K would have been, but hey, 95K, there's some pretty good stretch goals in there. We unlocked the monochrome color bleed harbinger pack. I think that's going to come with the book. And then I think there's some pretty good ones in there. Like I recall the Conquest one actually being really good. Is that the one that I can't see it from this image because it's too far backed out, but yeah, Conquest has got a really good card in there that's about that cost, and it looks to be a really short effect, so that could be it. The one that just Kagan somebody. And there's also the booster pack. The Clash Ground set is going to have 10 alt arts in there, and they're going to have the audiobook. We're going to have free monochrome New York City.
Yeah, I remember.
And we unlock a bunch of extra bonuses, and there's the free bookmark and stickers.
Which I'm excited. I'm excited for the audiobook.
Mm.
Like there, I'm very, very excited. Even though I told them I would do the audiobook, like I would read some parts for it for free. But
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna like do a whole hog thing on it, because it's like my familiarity with audiobooks comes from 40K, and their audiobooks are so high tech and advanced. It's like they have like background sounds and everything like that. They have different voice actors and modulators to make the characters sound different.
And I said I would love that. I would love that so much. I know my dad. He's like again. He felt like again. He's a comic book guy. Like he's a huge comic book guy. He used to draw for DC back in the '70s. So he knows his comics, and he has some things critical about the graphic novel. But he said, "Oh no," he said it's a very enjoyable story, and he loved to see more about it. I know he had me ask, is there a way to order, copies for his store? And I know they said that right now they don't have a way to like order at like distribution level. And I said, oh man, if you guys could do that, because again, like he's a comic, he owns a comic book shop, and he has this copy in the store, and people always ask, oh, where can I buy this? He can't do it. He can't do anything with it. So I would say that's kind of like how we said before, 2 weeks ago, is that amongst like your comic book fans, superhero fans, it grabs you in. Now these are people who have no interest in playing the card game, but they're so infatuated with the lore and the story, they just want to know more about it.
Yeah, or I think right now, because of the way the graphic novel is distributed, I think they're gonna get it up to a distribution level. I recall reading something to that effect. But for now, it's just kind of an accessory to the card games. I've been bringing it along to my Learn Play Flash nights, and I've just been having it set to the side.
And that's why I say I really, really hope that it continues to grow, and it's kind of continues to just go in the right direction. But all right, perfect. So again, we have some topics for everyone today. It's kind of doubling down on this series what we're doing, which is kind of retrospect of Alpha Clash. So again, with set one coming towards the end, not towards the end, but going on, moving into the second set, we definitely want to talk about some of the deck techs, or I would say some of the stable cards you feel like are going to come from set one over to set two. So I'll let you take the floor with some of your choices for some staple cards.
Yeah. Where to start? Let me pull up the site real quick. Okay, I think one that's really stuck out in a lot of competitive formats is Amazon Rainforest. That's a very powerful, getting you persistent draws every turn, and it's a great way to fish for cards that you know you're specifically going to need. Which in the formats that are around right now, which is basically Kagan format, it's a great way to fish for that Kagan. And if somebody doesn't want for you to fish for that Kagan, you're going to have to get rid of that Rainforest very fast.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then what's your second pick?
These aren't in any particular order. They're just in the order I'm seeing them on the site.
Okay.
Probably one of the better traps. Better luck next time, or as I call it, blunt, BLNT.
Mm-hmm.
Because it blunts things. It's just -3/-3 to whoever attacks. It's like the closest thing that Alpha Clash has right now to sort of a Sakuretsu armor, if you know what that does.
Yes.
And Sakuretsu armor is like baby Mirror Force, essentially. So better luck next time. Great response to anybody coming at you, regardless of how big and strong they are or not, which is sort of a good segue into Magnate's Trap, which is sort of like the opposite. It's arguably one of the best traps in the set, in that but the problem is that it focuses specifically on small little weenie cards, or occasionally some really built up Moxie, but usually some small weenie cards. And it will knock a card out of the opponent's hand in addition to just straight up killing the weenie that's coming after you. So that just 2-card swing, a trap is a 2-for-1, and that's pretty crazy in green, as if green didn't have enough good stuff.
Right. Which green has so much. Like it has, I say some of the best, definitely some of the best traps right now, and I only see that getting more as we go along.
Yeah, like one I suspect is going to be very important later on. Gotcha.
Yeah,
A green and any color to essentially negate a trap. That is going to be super relevant later on for pressing advantage, considering all the weird traps coming out in the future.
I 100% believe that Gotcha was not a staple card in set 1, but going into set 2 with it being more traps, it is definitely a staple card that you want to have in your deck, or more importantly in your sideboard. Because again, you're playing against a deck that doesn't use traps. Like Moxie players, they really don't use traps. But
I disagree.
Besides, I'm talking about right now, like from set 1. Because right now, set 1, they just have Sharpshooter Moxie.
Yeah, which is also a very good trap that I was about to get to.
So which one do you like more? Moxie, or I'm drawing a blank, but it's the red one.
For Moxie's trap, or actually there are a number of decent red responses. Like I keep forgetting which one is the quick play and which one is the trap. I think Deflect is the trap.
I'm looking at. I literally, okay. So you have counter blast. I'm sorry, energy blast, which is probably one of my favorite ones. And then you have, because deflect is the quick. I can't think of the other one. But I'm a go back to deflect about how amazing this card is. But
yeah, a lot of people in the latter days of set 1 were really starting to get enamored with that, mostly because they kept getting domed by Kagan, I imagine, and Deflect is a really good Kagan answer.
Okay, Solar Flare. Yeah, that's what it is. So Solar Flare and Energy Blast are 2 red trap cards that I feel, again, were not as were playable in set one, but not as people didn't really pay attention to them. But I feel like in set two, it's some more cards that you definitely want to carry over. Because for our listeners, Solar Flare is a counterattack, and you send it. Wow, send. I can't read. Send target attacking clash card with attack power of 2 or less to Oblivion. And then you have Energy Blast. And an Energy Blast is a counterplay. And you have this trap card, clash card being played, potential resource of 3 or less, so it can target down a lot more. And you deal 2 damage to it. So even if you don't, blow it up, a lot of times they're left with either 2 defense or 1 defense left. So if it even wants to swing, it's not going to survive. And that's why I feel like, and Energy Blast being that it targets 3 or less over Moxie, Sharpshooter Moxie only does 2 or less, and it being the same cost, that's why I feel like those two in tandem together are really good, especially now since we can see more black-red decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but here's the thing for Sharpshooter Moxie. Sharpshooter Moxie responds to play, not attack or anything like that. And so when you have a counterplay that does damage to something, I'm not sure whether it'll actually hit the field or count as enter, but I know for a fact Sharpshooter Moxie does not count as enter. It does not count as trigger enter. It does not count as trigger defeat. So Sharpshooter Moxie, just by its very nature, is unique in the fact that it gets around so much and nothing really operates the way Sharpshooter Moxie does. Versus Energy Blast, there are things that arguably work just like Energy Blast and arguably kind of do it better. I would say Piercing Strike is the better Energy Blast, honestly.
So any card that gets played, and I feel like there's a lot of things that people are missing, it goes into the response zone before it goes into play. So
and it's being damaged there.
So it's being damaged there. Because it's a counterplay. So it's being damaged there. So if it dies in that area, then it does not activate. But if it does not die, then, it does enter.
Okay. Yeah, but then again, that has the problem of Energy Blast does cause defeat triggers. Because even if you're not in the clash zone, you're still being dealt lethal damage, meaning that you will still trigger defeat triggers. Like Magnate Cunning Planner.
I want to say yes.
Yeah, versus Sharpshooter Moxie does not trigger defeat triggers.
All right, perfect. And then
so that's the difference.
And then moving to white, I feel like the most obvious staple cards for white, and I feel like it's just not up for debate, is Haven. It's literally down for debate. Because if you're playing white and you're not playing Haven, either you just truly just do not have them, or what deck do you have together that you're not playing Haven?
Yeah, you're playing white for Haven, Resourceful specifically. Hiding in Plain Sight less so, but Haven Resourceful mainly. Hiding in Plain Sight's a resource.
Yeah, that's why I said, I feel like, again, that's not even up for debate. Those two cards are stable cards, and I do feel like the $5 price point for those cards is very much warranted, because even going into set 2, there's no cards that really replace what they do. It's cards that help what they do, but there's no cards that cool, this is the new replacement for it. No, they're literally staple cards. I mean, anything that's you could say it's a 1-for-1, but I really feel like, again, you're not really losing any kind of advantage. You tap one, play one, draw a card. You're not losing a lot of advantage with it, and it just keeps drawing your card. And even you combine it with Clarity skill to search out the card. Come on. It's probably one of the best cards from white, or I would argue say it's one of the best cards of set 1.
Yeah, definitely up there. If we did this more like a top 10 set, she would definitely be one of the better commons. Whether she's better than Magnet Cutting Planner is kind of up for debate because Magnet Cutting Planner has the alpha distinction, whereas Haven does not, and that may be worth the 1 defense.
I feel like next week we should definitely do a top 10. I would love to get all 3 of our top 10.
Oh yeah, and I could actually like put some thought into it.
Yeah, I would love to do it where we don't share our top 10 until we go live. I'm just curious to see like where we'll fall. Now I do have a question because I'm looking at it right now and I don't want to lose this point. Do you feel like Lyn Nanite Warrior is going to be better in set 2?
That depends on what some of Conquest stuff does, and possibly Pestilence. Like, Pestilence has that one artifact now that can tap down things, sort of like a miniaturized ratchet bomb, and that sort of operates on a similar principle to Lyn, but sort of backwards, whereas Lyn attacks untapped things.
Mm-hmm.
That vial, that poison vial or whatever, can tap untapped things, and then you hit them. Also, there's the potential synergies with Conquest and what he's going to do, and what of his synergies are going to be Harbinger specific. If he has a lot of Harbinger specific things, then Lyn's not going to work well with him. But if he's easy and if he's cool about it, then yeah, Lyn might have a place in sort of a close combat matters sort of deck.
Okay, perfect. Next one I have.
I'm surprised you didn't go for Lyn Adaptable Fighter, because it's like, for all its humility, it's a very, very useful card that I've seen all over the place.
I can't with 100% certainty in my heart say Lyn would be a staple card moving in, and that is just because Plasmax. As I guess Lyn is a lot stronger. Not saying anything, but come on, it's a 2-cost 2/2 with flight, and I feel like a lot of people will Lyn would be on the back burner. Where it's like, cool, if I have room for it, I'll put it in. I'm still gonna be playing it because I still feel like a 5-cost 5/5 is really good.
Oh yeah, Lyn has a definite place, and probably a very long-standing place in what I like to call Claire Force 1, which is sort of my Clarity Flyer spam deck. And Plasmax is absolutely going in there the moment I get a place.
It's immediately, because I said, and that card is so bonkers. And I don't know who I was talking to, but I'm like, I was just trying to explain like how good it is, and they kept saying, "Oh, but we have the Magnate from set 2 that does the same thing." I said, "Yeah, that's true, but guess what? Now you have two. Now you have 2 cards to do it. One has breakthrough."
Do we?
Yeah, because
this is news to me.
It is Magnate, Menacing Magnate.
Oh yeah, Menacing Magnate. Yeah, well, obviously, now we have another one.
But like this is why I say that Plasmax is better than Menacing Magnate for this one and this particular reason only. It's a 2/2 automatically.
Yeah, which means it has applications outside of Magnate the Contender.
Exactly.
Specifically.
Exactly. You can play that card in any other deck, and it still is 2/2. Where if you put Menacing in a deck, it's going to be 2/1.
Yeah, Menacing still has a lot of use as a good flying blocker, and yet another example of how green gets all sorts of cool things. But it's usually not something that you max out. It's usually a utility piece. I use it as one in my Torque decks because I just need something that can sort of intercept a Kagan and maybe potentially eat his trigger.
And that's what's like. And also, one thing I always know about that card, I don't think I've ever been in any predicament where I use his breakthrough skill. I can't think of one time where I'm like, cool, I'm gonna swing in for breakthrough. I'm like, no, I'm swinging at your face.
Yeah, it's a lot like Torque Uncontrollable. It's like Torque Uncontrollable does have a breakthrough clause, but it almost never comes up.
Like, I mean, I was until
I think would have to survive boom.
Until you said, I forgot that it even had a secondary effect. I forget about that effect all the time. Like I forget
Menacing or
no, Torques. I keep forgetting that Torque has a second effect.
Oh yeah, the breakthrough effect. I wonder how many people forget the Torque dings you for one when he shows up.
I make sure to always remember that, because there was so many games where I did not remember it, and that is something that I have embedded in my brain. When I play Torque, I take a damage.
Yeah, because it's like the Haven, but a little more self-hostile.
Speaking of Haven, Bountiful Collector, and I've been saying this to people all the time. Bountiful Collector was okay in set one. A lot of people keep thinking, oh, because the ramps is so good. No, it was okay because you never got to truly use her secondary effect, which is return a non-trap accessory from living to your hand. In set two, this card becomes tier 1 because there's so many accessories that are not traps that this card can literally get out when it's defeated.
I'm thinking of the new Machina specifically.
Yes. And if I tell her, I said, no, I said, Haven, when you actually think about it, it's okay, but it's really not that damn good. In this set, it has a floating effect. It gives you more resource. You can do so much more with it. I'm gonna be honest. I would say Haven Battlefield Collector, 2 weeks after set 2, is going to be a $20 card again. I can guarantee it. It's going to be a $20 card, and the IR is going to be a $30 card.
Oh yeah, the IR. It's like all bets are off for the IR.
Like IR is going to be that way, and I also feel like Lefty's Last Stand is going to.
Oh, that's a good one. Now
it's going to continue to increase in price because it's negate attack and it's a quick, so it's from your hand, so it's not a trap, so you can't really play against it. So cool, you tag it to me, cool, prevent dash damage. Lefty's Last Stand is another card that it doesn't get reprinted in the draft box. This is going to be a $15 uncommon.
I thought everything was getting reprinted in the draft box.
No, when I heard the first time they announced it was they're picking select cards.
So they're curating it.
Yeah, so you definitely gonna have your magnates. You're definitely gonna have your Torques. Here come the booms, your Coggins. Like those, I 100% believe are gonna be reprinted. Like the things like Lefty's Last Stand, like those uncommon cards, I do not believe they'll get reprinted.
That would be strange because that's probably one of the best quick plays right now because of how specifically it works. Because it only negates the damage that you suffer, not the damage that you cause. If you follow.
Yes.
And so meaning if somebody attacks you for a trade and you play Lefty's Last Stand, you're just going to trade Lefty's Last Stand for the opponent's clash.
Which, again, that's why I say that card, if it doesn't get reprinted, it's definitely going to skyrocket.
The fact that it's going to be a curated set is going to be interesting. But then again, I've got enough stuff where if I see fit, I'm just going to get a bunch of those draft packs, or at least figure out what's in them, and make an Alpha Clash cube, the first cube in the game's history.
Let's see, that would be fun. Now, I do have another question about this one. How do you feel about Better Luck Next Time?
Yeah, we went into that. That was one of the earlier ones I went into. Blunt, because it's like I said, mini Sakuretsu armor, which for those who don't know, it's like kill and attacking clash. It doesn't work on bigger things, but it kind of does because it brings bigger things down into weenie range. So if you're getting domed by a Kagan and you just have a menacing magnate, that combination can get rid of that Kagan.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I had it in my note. We talked about that one, and that's why I said it. What I meant to say was Sunroll, the Awakened Breaker.
Oh, yeah, that's another really fire one. Probably the best rare in the set. It's between him and New York City, I'd say. But, yeah, he is, as somebody in my playgroup put it, he is cracked in half.
It really, especially when I realized that just reading the card again. So for my the listeners, this card gets when trigger attack. This card gets +1/+1 to end of turn, and you draw one card. Period.
His
Then
stat line is he's 5 cost, 3 of which have to be green, and he is base for 3.
yes, and I always say like that part right there, the +1/+1 draw a card. Period. Meaning you don't have to do the secondary skill, which is if you continue this green alpha, which I love how that's future proof. It has to be a green alpha. You may ready a class card you control and it's risk of 1 or less.
Yeah. What I think the most interesting turn of phrase there is 1 or less, which, as I suggested in an earlier podcast, that means we may be getting 0 cost clashes.
Which I am terrified when that happens because I'm just curious about what. Like I'm curious about what the hell is going to come out.
Kind of not, because I think it's going to be one of those cases where they're like 0 cost, but their cost increases based on their card effect. So it's going to like be a 0 cost on field, but it's going to functionally have a equivalent cost of whatever. I kind of think Death is going to get something like that. I mean, I would, because
if you look at it, Death and War are getting the most attention out of any Harbinger.
Yeah. Of the spoilers we've gotten for Black, 2 have not involved Death.
Right.
And one of them was from the Clash kit.
It's like, okay, are you trying to tell me that Death is going to be meta? Is going to be meta? Sign me the fuck up.
I wonder what's going to happen with the rest of the Black cards, because outside Death, we haven't seen much of anything.
We haven't. I know somebody made a joke, and I said, "Don't ever talk that way to me again." They said, "Yeah, we'll get Alpha Aster support." I said, "Please don't," because if one thing I've been vocal about, I still think Alpha Aster is probably the most underwhelming card in set 1 to me personally.
I've lost to him before, but that's only because the game ran long and I was dumb.
And that's why I said it's like, don't get me wrong, like on paper it does have a great effect, but I just feel like Clarify is just a 20 times better card, because I think I did that on one of our videos where my opponent got on Kagen, and I said, "Cool, Clarify." Took that Kagen and just said, "Cool. Now I'm about to hit you with super speed Kagen. You can't stop me." it was probably, I'm like, yeah, this is it. I think.
Did you have the cost reduction ability?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so you just like hard played it.
I hard played it and I was like, let's do this. And I just feel like, again, also with Aster, with it not really being a lot of, I don't think there's been any amazing alphas shown in this set. I feel like it's one card that's definitely going to get left behind, put into your binder somewhere. You may sideboard it, but there's so many other better unrivaled cards that were announced that it's, why would you continue to play this card?
Yeah, I think the War one is honestly the best one in the game right now.
Like it's like War is amazing. Like I can't even deny that War is completely amazing. That's why I said again, this Aster is kind of like, you were cool to pull in set 1, but yeah, you're not making it. And I truly feel like, unfortunately, with how much it costs, it doesn't have a reduction cost to it. Yes, it nukes the board, but unless they come up with some broken alpha, but again, you're also thinking about it this way, it negates their effect, so it doesn't matter what it does. There's no effect. And that's why I feel like that's one card that's 100% is probably one of the ones that's going to be lost and it's going to stay in set 1 meta. and it's gonna stay there for eons. Like if you got one that's graded, or you pull the legendary rare one, yeah, that you'll be cool. But other than that, it's pretty much it's over for that card once November hits. Let me see. What else do we have?
Yeah, War the Second Horseman. That was the one we were talking about, and it's 4 cost, 3 of which has to be red. 4/4. Trigger enter. Deal 3 damage to target contender or clash, and then trigger attack. Target defending player may send a clash card they control to oblivion if they don't deal 2 damage to that player's contender. This thing is functionally 6/4.
Like it is.
That's nuts.
Like it is so crazy, and I said it's definitely better than the other war that we got. The one that cost 7. That card's terrible.
Oh,
Okay. I don't want to say terrible. Terrible is too harsh. But why would you play that over the second horseman?
well, you wouldn't. You would play both, obviously.
No, they're unrivaled.
The 7 one isn't unrivaled.
Let me check, because I think. Let me double check.
I don't think 7 was.
7
is exclusive.
Okay.
Not unrivaled.
Okay. Thank God. I'm like.
Quite different.
I said that is it both unrivaled? I'm like, why would you ever do that? Just throw one. That's equivalent of pulling. Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot here. Pulling an epic rare that you get from the Clash kit. Pause.
Yeah, for the record, for those who don't know what it is off the top of their head, the difference between exclusive and unrivaled is once per deck, exclusive is 1 on the field, or essentially it's Magic the Gathering's legendary rule, except that it prevents you from playing copies as well, because legendary doesn't do that in Magic.
Yeah, because doesn't matter. You can just get rid of the one and play the new one. Yep. This one, it has to be destroyed, and no, you cannot destroy your own card.
Yeah.
Yet. Actually, you can, because Death does it.
Yeah.
Holy shit! You actually... No, I'm not even going to talk about the crazy combos. Oh my god, yes, you can.
What are you thinking of?
I can't remember the Death card that pops cards, but you can literally do it with the 6 cost Clarity. You can play it.
Are you thinking Endbringer?
Yes, because you can play it, get the buff, attack what it do, the shenanigans, pop it, play another one. That's if you have 12 available. Shit, I mean, come on. No, this is super hypothetical. I'm not saying it's the play you go for, because if you're able to get 12 resources on somebody, that game went on too damn long, and somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, the most resources I've ever seen in a game was 9. And that game went way too long.
Okay, let me see. What's the other unrivaled one? It is
that would be the Clarity Death.
Yeah, Harbinger.
Clarity Harbinger of Death, which makes me wonder from a fluff perspective. Claire, is there something you would like to tell us?
I'm not allowed to give any spoilers.
I know you're not.
I'm not allowed to give any spoilers. All I can say is cool. All right, continue with the set one. How do you feel about Rizlock? Is Rizlock finally going to be playable, or is it still going to be, damn it, I pulled this card?
Probably not, but Rizlock does still have some playability. I never did wind up doing that whole Discarded by Society deck, which was one of my planned decks, the idea behind which is essentially just run Rizlock and a minor black shell of all like the decent black cards like Sharpshooter Moxie, the Moxie 1, essentially. I forget her subtitle, and essentially the idea is that you're running that inside a mostly Torque shell, and you could probably get away with a bunch of, what do you call that effect? It's like Torque the Uncontrollable, but not as good. Enrage.
Okay.
I think that's it. And the idea is that you run a bunch of Enragers, and you buff them up until they're like 5/1s or whatever, and then you attack with them, and then they die to the 1/0 contender damage. And then when you lose 3 clashes, you can play Rizlak for essentially 2 mana of any color, or 2 resource of any color, because it discounts his cost from 5, 3 of which must be black, by 3 whole blacks. So that means he would cost 2. So the idea is that you're purposefully feeding your clashes into death on purpose. Not death, but you're killing them. And potentially you could also use Boom to do this, but if you want your deck to actually be functional long term, you would probably go the Enrage route, which is probably one of the better uses for Sinister San Francisco. Oh, what a dud otherwise. But anyway, the idea is that if you kill enough of your clashes, you get out Rizlak as just this bonus hitter. As for, is Rizlak going to be more relevant in set 2? No. Unfortunately, no. He's probably going to become more relevant by at least about set 4, I would say, because that seems to be the pace of these sets. We're already seeing Harbingers, and I imagine we're going to be seeing some discarded more down the line, especially if, from what I'm hearing, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler, it's like Cao Ling apparently fights the discarded, because he literally says in his card text, Bane of the Discarded. This shouldn't be a spoiler. So that means that we're probably going to be seeing some stuff for the discarded a set down the line.
I can't either deny or say, but I can say you are on the right track.
Yeah. Another thing that makes me think this, and I don't know to what extent this is canon, do you remember the Death's Door trailer that spoiled that card?
Yes.
Masterful effect design on that one, by the way. Awesome. Anybody who hasn't seen it, go watch it. I just periodically watch it every so often because it's just the voice acting on it, the modulation, it's clear, it's crisp. The editing is enough that you can just see the art of the cards, and that's part of the point, and it just ends on that Death Door. It's just right there. And one of the things that's said there is implied that this is Alpha Aster speaking. Let them clash on their world. They do not know what comes next, or something to that effect. And it makes me think that the reason Alpha Aster is doing everything that he's doing is because of the discarded in some way.
So, I damn it, like it's fuck. I literally cannot even say anything. Because no matter what my response is, it is a major spoiler.
Okay, so that actually entices me for the book a lot, because it means we're going to be getting way more than I thought. I did not think we would be getting anything relevant to the discarded in this book at all. I thought the discarded was going to be way down the line, maybe set 4 or something, but apparently if they're in the book, that's kind of game-changing. Oh, man, what if this discarded are more relevant in set 2? Ooh.
That's what I said, like, it's so bad, and that's why I said I did ask them when can we start talking about stuff. They said as soon as the ebook is delivered, I can do my spoiler video.
When is that?
No idea yet.
Dang it! Don't know. I want to know.
I want to say it's probably gonna be November.
Yeah, sometime in November.
And as soon as I cannot wait, and for me, it's going to be like a full thing to see who actually has read the book, because I can not trying to speak bad upon people, but I can tell people who actually read the book and people who just open the book to take an Instagram picture. And it's well, I think I can say this because I feel like it's already been kind of out there. Like I said before, every single card that is out there is directly from the book.
By which you mean all the cards in the Awakening are relevant to this book?
Everything,
I would hope so.
Everything in Awakening. Everything in
Okay.
Awakening is from the book. And like I tell everybody, when you're reading the book and something happens and you go grab your cards and look at it, it is literally a holy shit moment. And I would say the biggest holy shit moment, and I'll tell everybody this, it is towards the end of the book, and something happens and it's directly on a card, and I guarantee anybody who is a huge fan of this character, when you read it and you look at the card, you're going to get excited because it literally, as you're reading it and you're looking at the cards, it's almost like you're just it's like how you feel watching an Avengers movie for the first time, because you're seeing these characters that you've been playing with and looking at, and just hear them interact, and it's amazing.
So, like, more or less amping up than, like, say, seeing Shadowlight in the graphic novel.
It was, so for me, it was like, we were introduced to Shadow Light in the graphic novel way before the card was ever released, and that was my biggest thing. Like, why don't we have this yet? Why don't we have this yet? And then when they finally revealed it, I was like, oh shit, yes. Um, it's kind of like that, and I will say this as well. There are two characters that are going to give you a holy shit moment and a fuck you moment. And that is about as much as I could say on that. It's There's a couple people, and I would say there's a couple characters who I'm sorry, they're just so boring that I didn't care for.
Yeah, it's like there's characters in the graphic novel that are kind of like that. Well, like I said, Shadowlight doesn't really do a whole lot. Warcry, we start to get an idea of what his deal is, but he's not explored a huge amount. And of course, Plasmax, who exists for just like a few panels, just for a mean streak to clown on him.
Yeah, which again, I was kind of like you have moments like that where it's like, oh, why are you even here? But I will say this: um, have you ever seen Watchmen?
Yeah.
This is not a spoiler. This is my own opinion. But Shadowlight reminds me a lot of Dr. Manhattan.
I can kind of see that. I thought you were going to say he reminds you of Rorschach, but...
No, I mean, to be honest, Magnate reminds me of Rorschach so much, and I don't even know why.
That's odd.
His personality reminds me of if Rorschach went fucking evil.
I don't know. Magnate seemed way more Ozymandias to me.
And if I said, like, once you read it more, I said again, when I did the video about who I would cast to play it, I had the guy who played him in the Watch movie play it. I feel like he fits Magnate's features almost scarily perfectly.
Yeah, he certainly looks the part.
Like 100 looks the part, but Magnate, like the way how psychotic he is, it just reminds me of Rorschach. If Rorschach didn't have a cold, he would be Magnate. And that's
can you answer like binary questions? Do we learn more about Magnate's character?
Yes.
Okay.
You learn,
like I felt in the graphic novel he was kind of shortchanged in that you got to see everybody else's reaction to him, but you never got to see anything from him.
I would say you get to learn details about everybody that every single card, every contender, every alpha. You get to learn something about them, minus 3 people. And one person, to be honest, I forget he's there. Another person I feel like is the, for me personally, is the most unfleshed out character.
Can you say?
Well, I can't because it's just an opinion. Um, Moxie, I feel like is the most unchanged character in the entire series. Like she's the same person from the first page to the very last page. She's the exact same person. And I always say my biggest thing with me being, one of my main jobs is a film critic. So this is what I do for a living. And I always say the biggest thing in stories is if you want me to follow this character who's my main character, you got to give me something to either root for or hate. They have to have some type of conflict, some type of change, or they're just a Mary Sue. And as we saw from the Star Wars sequels, a Mary Sue is the worst thing you can put into a character because no one's going to care. No one cares about somebody that's always I'm doing the right thing. I'm always following orders. Like that doesn't breed conflict, so it makes you very uninteresting. And
Yeah.
I feel like Moxie from the first page to last page was the exact same person. Like you experienced everything that went on in this book, but you're still the exact same person, and it's like you're just not interesting. Like things are going on, you're like, cool, I don't care about you. I want to get back to the fun people. You're not interesting.
I wonder though, as it seems that Moxie is one of the more important characters in the graphic novel, probably.
Yeah, and
So essentially, what we're getting in the graphic novel is pretty much what we're going to get in the book, right?
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing in the book. But like I said, the bad thing about Moxie is that everyone else around her is just much more interesting. Like you care more about what other people are doing because they're way more fun. I feel like they're written a lot better. They have a lot more to do, and they develop. So about time the book ends, they're different people, but that change is warranted and it's earned. Where her is just that I'm a soldier, and it's kind of like okay, that's really cool. It's like you're the U.S. government. We know the U.S. government is the most corrupt thing on the planet, and it's just. And even in the graphic novel, one thing I didn't even really gel with was cool. The U.S. government wants you to kill the alphas, but not collect samples. That don't sound very America to me.
I don't know about not collecting samples. Then again, I think that may just be a matter of perspective. Military-based characters often tend to be very static just because of their orders, and so it comes down to when you get to see them during their downtime. And I don't imagine Moxie's going to have a whole lot of downtime.
And
It's like it's probably gonna be like a workaholic, though I do envision this potential conflict of Moxie just getting in Clarity's face about stuff because there's the inherent conflict between the two of them in that Moxie's orders are to take out the alphas, whereas Clarity's plan is to essentially recruit the alphas. Those two obviously cannot get both of what cannot both get what they want because they're going to step on each other's toes just by the necessity of their goals. And I kind of want to see where that leads.
so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna mute this section of the podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and mute this. Hold on, what the heck? What is going on? That was weird. Let me see. Okay, go ahead and talk. Okay, cool. It's muted. So again, you would think that her and Clarity would have some type of conflict. Zero. Zero. They have zero conflict about it. It's just, hey, We want to see if we can recruit them. I won't spoil the reason why. And Moxie's like, okay, I report to my superiors. This is what we're gonna do. And Eric's like, okay, that sounds like a good idea to me. It's no, I have to follow orders. I have to take them out. No, there's literally none of that. And that's what's exactly, and that's why I always say, like, again, you're still muted right now for this part. Um, that's why I say Moxie is probably the most boring character because she doesn't do anything. She's the same person from the time you meet her to the time it ends. And that was some of my feedback to them. I said again, I feel like again this is supposed to be my main character, and I could care less if she's dead or not. I said that's a problem. I said Mean Streak, and I feel like everybody who reads it will be your favorite character. Like he gets so much depth, and by the end of it, it's a line that he says with a certain character that that immediately brought me to fucking tears. I can admit that it literally made me cry cause that's how much you could just tell the growth, and it was just that hero moment. Like it's like cool. He was just a guy in the neighborhood that was this, and he grew to be a hero. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and unmute it now. We'll basically go into set two deck text, but I'll give it one more second before I go on mute. Um, but that was the thing. Weber, I forgot he was in the fuck not Weber, but Colonel Edwards. I forgot he was in the fucking book. I forgot he was even there. Like he'll pop up. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you died. I thought you blew up. I forget who you are, and god damn it, Weber, Jesus Christ, this man. Okay, you ready to grab him there where he got stabbed? This man has a death wish and just won't die. Like again, not spoiler, but this man has so many fucking close calls. Like, dude, just die. Like, if you want to die, just say that. Like Jesus. I'm like, bro, like you are. He is literally the meat shield. Like and like again, like but again, even him, he has more interesting things to do than Moxie, and he is a side character. No, cause when you first introduce her, but you're like think like, okay, cool. As you're reading the book, you're like, okay, cool. Where's the conflict? What's going to change? It's like it never comes. And like even if you had that where like she lost focus of her mission because she was so set on getting back at Magnate, that's interesting. And like I said, my feedback was there's a certain scene in the book that I felt like if it was just switched around just a little bit, that right there would have gave Moxie that last minute character overhaul. But I say again, when it happened, it was just like Moxie just didn't really care. It's like, oh, cool, my mission, and it's like, no, that was a big thing that just happened, and she had zero reaction. It was just like the mission's complete. Like, okay, fuck you. It's literally that, and that's why I suggested. I know it's a very tired trope, but I said it's a tired trope because it fucking works. I said make Moxie, if you want her to be this hero, make her unlikable. Make her when you're first introduced, she's unbearable and unlikable. Like, make her a fucking borderline alcoholic. Out of nowhere, poor Paul. And I said, make us not like her at first. So as the events progress, we grow to like her, which allows us to go, okay, hey, she's changed. She's different. Now this is someone who I can root for. Again, when I am rooting, now I feel like again this is not spoiler because it's on the fucking cover art. When Magnet is crushing her skull, I'm like, cool, keep going. Don't stop. Like it did. I'm like, yeah. As I'm reading, I'm like, yeah, keep going. Yeah, that's it. Don't be a bitch. Push. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and bring it back. All right, perfect. On to our next topic. We are talking about some deck tech ideas for set 2. And what we think should be some cards you should look to pick up again. Not all the cards were revealed. I don't think. Did they reveal everything?
No.
Okay.
Which?
Because Zach is slipping on uploading the damn arts to the spoiler. Yeah, last one he did was on the 2nd for Haven Provoked. Which
yeah, it's like, I will not clean my room.
I can't even say it. That's not what happens. That's not what that is. And it is such a great scene. And I keep telling you about this. There's something with Haven. And I love how they do not tell you, but they give you enough to say, hey, something's not right with this girl.
Yeah, I've been figuring that for a while, just because we have no idea who Haven's parents are. We haven't even seen in the graphic novel how Haven's powers work exactly, let alone it's like for how they work from the outside, how they work from Haven's perspective. The only hint we have is the Haven hiding in plain sight card. That's the only hint we have as to how her powers work, aside from like her Clash buff. That's now kind of a hint.
I can't even say anything. And what makes it worse, in the book, so to put it in perspective, how the graphic novel ends, there's a part in the book where it literally picks right up after the graphic novel. And when it explains her powers, it's the next page.
Aha, I kind of figured that because the implication of the graphic novel is that Magnate is essentially chasing down Mean Streak, and because he either gets tired, bored, or feels like he has something better to do, he just brings the building down on Mean Streak, and the implication is that Haven is still in there.
And that's all I can say. I can say this, though. Magnate bullied the shit out of Mean Streak. He ain't do all that. But I do love how they showed that everyone was just not equipped to deal with him. Because, Warcry. I mean, the Bison thing is really cool. But he said, you put your hands on me? But, okay, so I'm trying to look through the revealed cards now. And again, it's really kind of hard to say.
Yeah, Staunch Defender, I think, is the one you're thinking of.
Yes. Okay, what is it? I Torque Powerful Hitter. It's a 4 cost. I don't like that. I don't like torque cards being so high. But whenever a class card is defeated by non-class damage, deal 1 damage to target tender. Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Oh, that card is crazy.
Yeah, that card, okay.
There's so many things I can think to do with that.
Okay, yeah, because it being a 4 cost, okay. But what it does, that's actually not bad.
Yeah, I'm thinking Torque Powerful Hitter. I want to say not Warzone. It's the one in New York City one that essentially increases the clash damage done to things by 1. The non-clash damage done to things by 1, whatever that clash ground is, and the war 1 cost that does 2 damage and makes a Harbinger token. That's a gnarly little combo, because essentially you're doing 2 damage inflated by the clash ground to 3. It kills a card, and then because of that, war trips again, and he potentially either pings your contender to draw another card, or he pings something else for 2. Because one thing I know about that card off the top of my head, even if I forget what it is it only boosts the damage of things you don't control. So it's like that is a gnarly combination, because you got a torque powerful hitter, you got a 1/1 war token, and you've taken out a clash, you've taken damage off the opponent's contender potentially, and you've potentially drawn a card if you're in torque, because you could just throw that at yourself. So the amount of just non-clash damage flying around, that could seriously be a thing, and I might want to try something like that.
So my question with this, with torque still being so prevalent, how do you feel about the 20 cost contenders?
The 20 you mean the 20 life contenders?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the 20 life contenders also are 0/1s, specifically Pestilence. War, I think, War and Conquest, I think, actually are 30. Whereas Death is 25,
It's 25.
Death is 25/01. Death is 25/10. Haven is 25 or 20/10 or 01.
Yeah, 2501.
Yeah, and I think Pestilence is actually 20/01.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, that one is 2001 because that's what made me go. Okay, so what are you gonna do about the ping damage for that one?
The way that interacts is actually kind of interesting, because what non-clash damage does to contenders is it reduces that 0/1 down to a 0/0, meaning for the rest of the turn, meaning that anybody could swing in and not die. So that, I think, is going to be why non-clash damage builds are going to be a lot more impactful. Okay. Though not quite as impactful as the token strat, depending on how many things come out with that. Token strat might take the crown next set.
And let me see, what else do we have here? Okay, we also
there's
have
Conquest, of course.
Conquest, who I know.
Yeah. There's going to be the question of whether his 3-cost action is that can Kagan things is going to make Kagan less mandatory. I think it will, because the ability to do that for just 3 costs is pretty nasty.
See, I'm still just not convinced on Conquest yet. I'm just not there. I'm not saying it's not good or bad. It hasn't got to me just yet. And that's because I'm still stuck on stuff like War and Death. Pestilent, I feel like if I do build a Pestilent deck, I just want it to be as toxic as possible. I don't want to win in games. I just want to be a nuisance.
A problem.
That's it. I just want to be a nuisance to anybody who plays me. Like I don't want to win. I just want to make it so annoying for you to win that when you do, you're like, this is a terrible deck. I know.
Yeah, that's why Pestilence only has 20 health, because there's got to be some way to take him out. And that means that Pestilence is going to be exceptionally vulnerable to things with lots of attack, like Kagan, in fact. So he's going to have to watch his butt.
I do love War's draw ability. If you attack twice, you draw a card. I feel like that's amazing.
Yeah. And that, just being able to turn tokens into draw power, and the fact that tokens are going to mess with tempo, they're going to mess with blockers, and even the Clash Ground that works with War, I think that's War Ground or something like that.
Yes,
The
War Ground.
one that yeah, the one that everybody's looking at because it can stop a Clash Ground from being put into play by destroying itself. But I think people are undervaluing just how much the +1/+0 to Harbingers is going to be. That's a thing. If there's anything New York City has taught us, is that don't underestimate just blanket buffing everything of a certain archetype, especially an archetype that you're not guaranteed to see on the other side of the table.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Now, another card, like another contender, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up here. How do you feel about the new Mean Streak contender?
I wish you would ask me about Machina, because honestly, the mean streak is just kind of weird, and I'm not entirely positive that he's going to take over versus the mean streak that exists right now.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I agree with that so much is the original Mean Streak has an ability that is amazing. It is move as many speed counters you want to from one card to another.
Yeah, and the everything with speed counters gets defeat draw 1, and then on his 10 threshold ability, it essentially turns into they also get +1/+1 and super speed, which is stupid. It makes him one of the hardest contenders to actually take out when he's in that threshold.
Exactly. Now, switch over to Machina. How do you feel about that being a contender to shape up the meta?
Machina is really interesting because of all the stuff that he does with equipment. It's really going to start giving new life to stuff that hasn't seen much action right now, like Weber's Assistance. That's a card that has done jack all this entire set 1.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gets some Weber's Assistance in there, because clearly he likes black stuff, he might actually be a good, another good way to get Moxie cards operating nominally.
And this is what I said before about Haven Battlefield Collector becoming, if you can find them cheap now to buy them now, and this, like for me, I'm like, yes, you do it with black, or even you do black accessories, but I see this as red blue, and the reason is discard a non-trap accessory, Haven gets them right back.
Exactly, and a lot of Machina's equipment likes to be blown up, and then he gets it back. Hence why I was thinking Weber's Assistance myself.
Mm-hmm. So again, like I said, you can do things like Weber's Assistance to reattach them. You can use the Haven to ramp up the deck to get your cards out, and that's why again, like I feel like Machina is such underrated contender, and I feel like a lot of people are not going to understand how good it is until you play against a deck at full power, and you're going to see how well it just can recur stuff, everything. It basically with Weber System, with Haven, with Heavy Brawler, almost everything in this deck floats. So it pops, it comes back, you get a resource from it. You keep recurring and doing stuff every turn for not a lot of resource when you actually think about it.
Ooh, that's handy.
And that's what I said. Like I feel like this one good. I know everyone is losing their mind on Siberia, which you should. Like
we're in headquarters too.
Like I can never say to anybody that this card is not good. So for the listeners, Siberia is a 3-cost Clash Ground. Clash cards lose super speed and can't get super speed. And the attached costs of red weapons are reduced by 1 red, and black weapons are reduced by 1 black. I feel like this can be the first 4-colored deck. Actually, no, wait, no, you don't need that. You know why? That one card that searches out Clash Ground, it doesn't have any specific colors to it.
Which one is that?
It's let me see if I can find it. It's a white card that doesn't require any colors to play it, and you place a Clash Ground on top of your deck.
Aha!
So you can
What
literally,
type of card is that?
it is. I'm trying to find it. I know it's here. Hold on. I'm looking for it right now.
Like an action?
I want to say it's an action. Um, where is it? Come on, it was revealed. Okay, here it is. It's called Hidden Pathway. Yep, so Hidden Pathway is a clash ground. So at the start of your turn, if a portal is open, you may send this card to your Oblivion. Reduce search your deck for one clash ground, reveal it, shuffle your deck, put on the blue card on top. Blah blah blah. So again, this happens before your draw step. So you can literally play this card, do your portal shenanigans, which is not hard to do, and
It might be.
the portal is open. Yeah, because you got.
A portal's got to be open at the start of your turn, so the opponent has a chance to close it.
That's true.
Then again, does that apply to both players or just the controller?
That
I think it might just apply to the controller.
I think this is for the controller. But even with that though, again, I also feel like we said before about Rainforest. This is you have another 1-drop card that can get rid of Rainforest, and also has a floating effect where you can continue to search stuff out. So again, with it not requiring a white, you could put this card into any single deck, and I feel like this card, if you're playing Machina Siberia, you want this card. Because again, you're attaching weapons for free.
Yeah, and of course Moxie might also like this card as well for the same reason, because she wants you in, she wants Siberia now.
Yeah, that's why I say I feel like, and that's why I wanted to leave these two for the last thing we talk about today. Because I feel like this main streak, no, it's not it. You're not it, buddy. I feel like if you're competing in Clash Kit tournaments, which I know we'll be running some the weekend after launch. The weekend of launch, we're doing the case tournament. The weekend after, we're going to do Clash Kit, where you could only use cards from the Clash Kit. But I feel like playing those two, they're perfectly fine. But to say, cool, I'm not going to play the old main streak for this one, bad choice. But Machina, Jesus Christ, that card is going to be busted.
Yeah, do we know what the lists are for these decks? Or when they'll be released?
They probably will not be released till next month. Or the end of this month. I want to say it's probably going to be like how the ratios were for the last one, where you get 2 copies
Of each Clash Ground.
and then like 3 copies of the other cards. For actually, are they gonna put the new Clash buffs in, or are they gonna give us reprint Clash buffs?
Yeah, that's a good question, because both Machina and Mean Streak can use the old Clash buffs just as well.
So I wonder
they might actually reprint them.
I wonder, yeah, because I would, like, if they do reprint them, I would love if they reprint them with the new comic art style.
Yeah, with the new art style, and to reference the actual contenders that are using them, in Machina's case.
That would be cool.
Clash buffs or Mean Streak's buffs, but a power overflowing that references Machina, that's functionally going to be the same as the power overflowing that references Torque.
Like, I'm sorry, for me, if that happens, I would love that, because again, it just gives it more of reason to buy it.
Yeah, I wonder whether they're going to be like entirely new cards, or they're going to just bring back a bunch of the cards from set 1.
And that's why I want to know, because I know they did do some of the last ones that they showed off were reprints of Magnate and Moxie and the new arts.
Yeah, what are those going to be in, by the way?
These are in the set as commons.
They're Clash Ground commons?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. So there's you could potentially have Moxie in this set. Also, this is the first time we're seeing Moxie in the new art style, so that's a thing.
Which I'm so happy for, because again, the biggest thing a lot of people have been saying is that if you can't get the Clash kits, or if you don't have the special promos or the pre-release ones, you don't have access to Magnate or Moxie.
Yeah, that's been a big problem with trying to whip up a lot of decks, is that whenever I try to whip up a Moxie deck or a Magnate deck, I need to get my single Moxie or Magnate Clash card, my contender, and just have them do double duty. It's like this is part of why during a local tournament I just snapped up a shot at getting a the pre-release version of the Torque Uncontrollable Torque Diabolical Contender, so that way I had more torque.
Exactly.
And it also contributed to the 61 foils, which I just completed, by the way. It's like if you've seen the flexing on the Alpha Clash Discord.
Let me see.
Yeah, where I fully foiled out my tournament deck.
Like, I think the only cards I'm missing to finish for on my deck, I'm missing 2 more Haven Hiding in Plain Sights. And it's like, no one, I keep asking about it, no one gets back to me. I'm like, I just need these 2 cards. And I will be done. That's all I need.
Of my Havens, I actually have more Bountiful Collector foils than I have Hiding in Plain Sight.
Like Hiding in Plain Sight foils, it's like, I'm like, I know they exist because I pulled one of them before. Mind you, I pulled one after opening 16 cases. But I have been hearing rumors that, and we're in on this note, ratios have been fixed.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, if you remember in set 1, the ratios were all over the place. So when the set first came out, I did do a live stream on our YouTube channel where I opened a case. I pulled 17 foil Denvers. And I pulled...
Oh, so a lot of stacking.
And yes, and I only pulled 1 Shugaboo in Haven out of a case. I had 1. I thought that Shugaboo in Haven was an epic. No, it's an uncommon. Now I pulled...
Shugaboo in Haven was rare.
No, it's an uncommon. It might be a rare. I don't know. I pulled 1. And
it's like the Torques definitely had that problem to the point where I started calling Uncontrollable Torque the Unobtainable.
Yeah, and it's so weird because one case I will pull 1 Torque. Next case I will pull 4 of them. Like the ratios are just all over the place. And I heard that they're fixed. They're a lot better now.
Maybe that's why I got all those freaking Morak.
Yeah, I have so many fucking Moraks to this day now. I'm like, I can't stand this card. But I also heard that the legendary alpha rares are gonna be, the big chase cards. Like, and I am sorry, but I am looking. I said we're gonna open up a couple cases. And I just hope we get some to open up. I hope I get one to put in my binder. I really, really need it.
Yeah, well, this time I'm going to be waiting for Team Covenant to do whatever they're going to do, and then I'll get my case.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And I know, now for the listeners, we still have, I want to say we only have 3 or 4 cases left on the website. And then that'll be it for the pre-orders, and then we'll add more after release. Because we'll have product for set 2 all the way to carry us all the way to about January of still product. And then after that, it'll be a little bit slower. But we ordered enough to get us through to at least January for sealed product. The Clash kits, we're almost sold out of that. Booster boxes, we still have plenty of those. So that's good. And I said I got my Team Covenant ones ordered. I think I ordered 6 boxes.
Yeah, I got a whole case coming from Team Covenant.
in part because I'm still sore that I missed out on those Team Covenant Torque Uncontrollables.
Oh yeah, I said it. I did it last time and I think I did 5, and I was like, yeah, never again. Well, I missed out on getting at least 2 play sets of this, but I said, cool, I'll do 6 for this one, and then got my other inventory to sell out, and then we'll have so we're doing set 2 a little bit differently, where we'll have singles, of course, and then we'll also have common, uncommon, and rare bundles, and then full set color bundles. So if you're like, cool, I want 4 copies of every for each card in red, you can pay a single price for it. Get 4 copies of the epics, rares, uncommon, commons, etc. If you want to be blingy, we'll have an option to buy it all hollowed out or their max rarity. And I'm like, cool, why not? So that's what we'll do. But that is our time, and we're wrapping up here. So again, don't forget to check out Alpha Class. So again, set 2 comes out November 10th. And this has been your Rogue Contenders, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.